And welcome to this Fox 26 For Your Money special. I'm Heather Sullivan. Tonight, we have a lot of smart sense for you on ways that you can save and make money in the new year and help you take stock of where your finances stand. So first, you know, a lot of household budgets have been put through the ringer over this last couple of years, really. Well, whether it's rising prices, changing jobs, or anything else that's affecting your bottom line, the new year is a great time to take stock of your financial health. So our business reporter, Tom Zizka, is going to show you how.
Spend some time on a regular basis going through our household finances.
Houston financial advisor Rich Rosso would prefer we take our financial pulse more regularly, but understands it's not a priority many make. So that means an end-of-the-year checkup is even more important to understand what money is available, where it's going, and how to put it to work. Start with your budget. How did you do in the last year, and where do you want to go next? Few of us are fans of the process, but it is important to understand cash flow, and one of the few times Rosso will urge consumers to charge it.
I'm a big fan of people putting a lot of their expenses on credit cards, but wait, paying it off every month, because you get such good records of categories of where you're spending and how it's changed.
Since 2 years of COVID has offered a stark reminder of how our health coverage works, this is a good time to evaluate any health savings or flexible spending accounts you may have. Did they cover your needs, or was there too much left over at the end of the year?
Match up your flexible spending with the most regular, periodic healthcare spending you have, so that you don't have to make this mad rush. So while you're doing the mad rush, plan out what you think you may want to put in your flexible spending account for the following year.
The same goes for other benefits you may have available from an employer. Are you saving enough 401k money to equal an employer match, and is the money invested properly? Are you taking advantage of long-term disability coverage? Rosso encourages looking at your benefits with fresh eyes each year.
You might be bypassing some very important ways to mitigate risk, even though you don't think it's going to happen to you. I want you to think about what if it does.
And he really does push for people to stay on top of these things year-round. So to get started, choose just a couple of topics like your monthly spending and resolve to take a regular look so that you can see trends, identify problems, and find opportunities to grow. Well, federal student loan payments have been pushed back repeatedly through the pandemic, but they will eventually restart, and that will hit some borrowers pretty hard. In fact, a Bankrate survey finds 75% of borrowers say their finances will be negatively impacted when those loan payments resume. 32% are already cutting spending, 26% are looking for higher paying jobs or side hustles, and 19% are selling personal possessions.
When it gets tricky is when life events happen and you don't really have the money, you know, when you're going on maternity leave or your father's sick and well, my dad got sick and I took a family medical leave.
School counselor Jeanette Pritchett knows the struggle of trying to pay off $65,000 in student loan debt.
And how much goes toward the principal versus the interest, then it's just depressing. Like that part is, you just kind of just feel like you're married forever to this thing.
She's turned to PSLF Jobs, a consulting company, to help her reapply for public service loan forgiveness now that the program's been overhauled.
PSLF Jobs, I created as a platform for borrowers to go and know that the jobs they're looking at qualify for public service loan forgiveness.
For 1 year, the PSLF program is letting borrowers count payments toward any federal student loan or repayment plan toward that 120 payments needed if they work full-time in the military, government, or a 501c3.
If you worked in a qualifying environment for 4 years and then stopped working for a little while for whatever reason, or took a for-profit job or went down to part-time, you could pick back up that progress towards the 10 years required for PSLF.
Bankrate finds 75% of federal student loan borrowers are scrambling to afford the average $222 a month payment. They suggest some borrowers consider income-based repayment plans or cut expenses.
Maybe some of them have been going back to the office and they don't really need to pay for as fast of an internet as before. Maybe some Americans were using subscription services.
Pritchett has her fingers crossed she'll be approved.
And maybe had close to 25 forgiven.
And advises her students to try to avoid student loans.
You don't quite understand when you're saying, yeah, I want to go to this school and sure, I'll take out $20,000 in loan. You do not understand how that impacts your quality of life.
It really does. So I've put some links to resources to help you find jobs that qualify for public service loan forgiveness and steps to get ready to make those loan payments. It's all on Sullivan's Smart Sense on Fox26Houston.com. Well, that sixth and final child tax credit payment went out mid-December. The IRS has tips to get you ready for tax season now. Families who receive child tax credit payments will need to compare them to the total credit that they can claim on their 2021 tax return. If you received less than you were eligible for, you can claim the balance on your taxes, and you may even get a lump sum payment. If you were overpaid, you may have to pay some back. So look for letters from the IRS detailing how much you were paid. Next, ever order something online only to be kind of let down when it arrives? Yeah, we all have. Well, what if you didn't have to return it to get your money back? And if you face mountains of debt, it may seem really hard to tackle, but we're going to show you how one woman's determination and self-control helped her pay off $65,000 in debt. Welcome back. Well, the number of Americans applying for credit cards is now at a level not seen since late 2019. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York says that nearly 27% of U.S. consumers signed up for a new card in October. And experts say weaker demand for credit cards early in the pandemic was due to the restrictions on travel and dining, as well as concern about taking on new debt. But do you have piles of credit card debt already? And maybe you're wondering if you'll ever actually get out from under it. It can be done, and it's really not as hard as it seems. Meet Susan Black, who made it happen.
I look back on it now and I thought, how in the world did I ever pay that off?
Suzanne Black is back in the black after digging out from $63,000 in credit card debt in less than 5 years.
I inherited some of this debt, through the marriage, et cetera, and then we divorced in 1999. And then other of it was being a single mother, of 2 children.
Black turned to nonprofit credit counselor Money Management International.
That pressure of, oh my gosh, there is no way that I can retire with this debt.
MMI persuaded her creditors to settle for smaller amounts, saving her big money.
Went down from $143,493 in interest, what it would have been, in other words, what I would have paid long term, down to $51,560.
And set her up on a monthly budget and payment plan.
It's about $1,270 a month that I paid. And it just worked so smoothly from that point on.
Black said she had to learn to track her spending, but was still able to take a few vacations.
Talking to them, there are places you can turn to that are confidential that you can talk to and try to understand what your options are and come up with an action plan for overcoming that challenge.
Thomas Nietzsche with MMI says most people with debt don't realize they can get low-cost, confidential help.
Our average client is debt-free within 42 months.
Black says she boosted her credit score 150 points, worked one additional year, and just retired.
Actually celebrated with my family in February of this year, got it all paid off.
Oh, that had to feel so good to pay that off. Well, an industry report found online purchase returns jumped 70% since the pandemic began. With all the supply chain challenges, more retailers are deciding, hey, there's got to be a better way. So some are rethinking how they handle returns, and they have a new message for you. Here's our Tom Zizka.
While some shoppers are certainly venturing out to stores, COVID and convenience has a lot of people relying on making their purchases from the comfort of their keyboard. But with package returns running higher than ever, more than $70 billion worth last holiday season, the added strain on a struggling supply chain might be too much. The Wall Street Journal reports a growing number of large retailers like Amazon, Walmart, and Target are relying more on making refunds while telling consumers not to bother with the return.
I've heard of that, haven't experienced it myself, but it seems like it'd be easy
easy situation to take care of that way.
It's a lot cheaper for them to do that on certain items.
Houston marketing expert Paul Galvani says it's all about cash flow. First, there's the cost of returns, a fee to process the package plus the cost of freight. Then there's a limited workforce to handle the packages. For smaller items, particularly those that won't be resold, it may not be worth the effort.
That's a huge expense for them. And of course, if they're handling returns, what that means is they're not actually putting items in boxes and selling them.
There is also the issue of competing for consumer dollars. For some businesses, eating the cost of a given product while saving the expense of taking it back may be a valuable investment in getting a customer to come back.
In return, the customer feels very satisfied and, more importantly than that, feel loyal to that particular retailer.
How much goodwill does that buy you with a retailer?
I would say a lot. Just not to have to worry about that part of it.
Since you're probably thinking someone's going to take advantage of this, a reminder that this is only for small items, things that aren't likely to be resold. TVs, computers, big items, probably out of the question here. Meantime, you can bet that retailers are keeping track of who's doing what. So if they find a consumer trying too many returns, that's probably a consumer that's not going to be able to buy or return anything anytime soon. Watching Your Money, I'm Tom Zizka, Fox 26 News.
I've had that happen to me a couple times. Okay, now that we have all learned how to work from home, some things in the business world, they really may never go back the way they were. The lessons we've learned and how that's creating a new vision for business in the future. Plus, sometimes you need a little extra cash, right? Well, could it be hiding in your car? Well, no, I'm not talking about checking under the seats. The secret is in refinancing. I've got that story next. We have been telling you for months that used car prices are up over 40% over last year. But what you may not realize is that means that you could save a lot of money refinancing your auto loan. Rate Genius's latest report found that borrowers that used its platform to refinance saved an average of $102 a month. That car or truck in your driveway could save you money.
On average, over the last couple months, consumers have been saving over $100 per month. And so you add that up, that's, $1,200 a year.
Chris Brown with Rate Genius says conditions are ripe to refinance.
The auto values are really high right now because of supply problems of new cars. And so the value of existing vehicles, used vehicles, has gone up like 40% plus over the last year and a half.
Plus, consumer credit scores are up, interest rates are low, and lenders are lending.
We've seen approvals go up over 60% year over year.
Here are the general criteria to qualify for auto refinancing.
Typically, lenders don't want to lend against vehicles that are more than 10 to 12 years old, that have more than 120,000 miles on the vehicle. They want vehicles that are used for personal use, not commercial use.
Brown says you'll need to still owe at least $8,000 on the vehicle and have made at least the last few payments on time. He says some lenders will even finance more than the car's value.
Lenders will lend up to 120% of the car's value,
which you can use to pay off other debts or expenses. Well, between the pandemic, falling oil prices, and environmental concerns, Houston's energy businesses are facing significant challenges. And while that's true for a lot of industries, as Tom Zizka shows us, a new facility is designed to help them find their way. Take a look at this.
If you listen carefully, the doors open with mood music at Deloitte's new greenhouse facility high above downtown Houston. There is science behind it and everything else that happens in this 14,000 square foot space designed to help businesses tackle their complex problems.
We really believe that the pandemic has accelerated change.
Amy Cronus is Deloitte's managing partner in Houston. The greenhouse is the latest of dozens such facilities that the business services firm operates around the world.
It's a relatively dangerous industrial process.
This one is geared toward the energy sector with all kinds of bells and whistles technology, including a robot dog named Dot, all designed to help encourage innovative solutions. But any business is welcome here, where leaders are trying to evolve rather than get left behind, particularly after the pandemic forced people apart.
The human connection is a must. that you must have the ability for humans to learn and experience and work alongside folks in an apprenticeship way.
The greenhouse is divided into several interactive experiences that encourage different types of conversation and collaboration, all of it outside normal workspaces that are designed to put participants on an equal footing during their debate.
You have to unpackage all that and put everybody in a level playing field, if you will, to really get the juices going, get things happening that create a coalition to move forward with whatever the change that group comes up with.
Place looks fun, doesn't it? I wouldn't mind hanging out there. Okay, we have all seen the prices climbing at the pump. Next, we're going to show you some easy ways to keep your costs down. Well, plenty of people are hitting the roads again. You might be one of them, but of course it's just as we've seen gas prices spike to their highest level in 7 years. So that's why I want to help you save some money with some driving tips.
Hey drivers, we want to know, what are you doing to cut the high cost of gas?
I put out gum out in the tank every 3,000 miles or so, every oil change. Put the fuel cleaner in your tank.
And the motorcycle gets good gas mileage. I filled this up for under $14 and I could go over 200 miles.
AAA says keep your driving speed steady. Use cruise control if you can. Leave early morning or late in the evening to avoid stop and go traffic.
If you're speeding, you're increasing your fuel consumption. You want to avoid those jackrabbit starts and hard accelerations because that can greatly increase your fuel consumption.
And AAA says use regular unleaded gas if you can.
Unless premium fuel is recommended or required for your vehicle, there's no added benefit.
I make my money driving around, so it takes a lot of gas.
Kendall Craven drives for DoorDash. She says she saves money using an app called Get Upside.
It's an app that has your location and it tells you which nearest pump you can go to, and you link your card, and it just gives you cents back for each gallon.
Other apps can also help you find the cheapest gas on the road. Gas Buddy, Gas Guru, Waze, Dash, MapQuest gas prices, and AAA's TripTick. You can also use store and gas loyalty cards that offer discounts, such as Kroger and giant grocery stores, Shell, Exxon, and Chevron, and credit cards that offer cash back for buying gas. GasBuddy.com now offers a discount gas card, and an app called TrueNow lets you upload gas receipts for cash back.
So this is great because the points guy says you can actually triple stack your savings. Here's how. You use your fuel rewards card for the discount. You pay for it with the Gas Buddy card and then upload the receipt to TrueNow. He says he bought $50 worth of gas and paid $39. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this Fox 26 For Your Money special. Many of our resources and information that we've talked about, they're all at your fingertips anytime. Just check out my and Tom's Facebook pages and, of course, Sullivan's Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. See you next time.